Oh, hello there. I'm from the New York Department of Financial Services, and I am pleased to announce that we are putting your hard-earned tax dollars to work to combat the most pressing issues in finance. No, we are not going to be putting any bankers in jail for fraud, nor are we going to be putting bankers in jail for actively working to screw their customers. Nor are we going to be investigating market manipulation on Wall Street. That would be silly. Instead, we have found the real culprit: Bitcoin exchanges. Yes, unlike our good friends on Wall Street, these shady organizations used by criminals and terrorists are rife with manipulation. But it's okay, you can sleep at night, because we are here to protect you. Welcome everyone to the September 20th edition of What's Happening in Crypto with the Crypto Lark, broadcasting to you from New Zealand and bringing you all of the latest from the crypto world and beyond. Today's top stories: imminent financial crisis inbound, according to the banks, and they would know because they're probably going to be behind it. Major Japanese cryptocurrency exchange has been hacked, and what Bitcoin's rich list knows about Bitcoin that the little investor might not. Bitcoin, $6,412, not making a lot of movement according to the charts, although when you look at this, we did have a pretty exciting day with Bitcoin dipping all the way down to around $6,120 before immediately rebounding massively to $6,523. That is quite the candlestick here on the chart. Bitcoin continues to surprise without a doubt. The next global financial crisis will strike in 2020, warns investment bank JPMorgan. Global meltdown could be sparked by automated trading systems, according to the analysts. There have been a lot of people recently talking about an imminent financial crisis, and to be honest, I would not be surprised to see another financial crisis happening in the near future. 2020 seems like a logical time for that, because realistically, nothing was really fixed after 2008. Yeah, we passed some laws that were later rescinded, but realistically, nobody was punished, nobody went to jail. There were really no repercussions for the 2008 financial crisis. In fact, it was quite the opposite. They got bailed out. They found that, hey, we can crash the global economy, and we have no consequences for that. Right? So this is very, very tricky indeed if we do see another global financial crisis happening. Now, interesting, JPMorgan is also in the news. They are looking into Bakkt. Now, Bakkt, of course, is the Intercontinental Exchange's crypto offering. And apparently, JPMorgan is taking a strong interest in this. Now, that is in spite of the fact that old Jamie Dimon has been anti-crypto and anti-Bitcoin for quite some time, calling it everything from a bubble to a fraud and not worthy of his distinguished commentary. Thanks, Jamie. But realistically, here we are. Here we are seeing JPMorgan looking at this investment. So it's very interesting to see when they're saying one thing but doing the opposite. Now, other news for the impending financial crash, theoretically, is that, of course, the household income has been exploding recently. And the question has to be asked: will millennials flock to Bitcoin? It's certainly an interesting idea, without a doubt. Now, the article goes on to say in September, U.S. household wealth reached $100 trillion. Wowzers. And ostensibly, it seems like a positive development for U.S. markets, but in comparison to stagnation in actual U.S. household income, it is quite evident the rapid growth of U.S. household wealth cannot be sustained in the long term. They are citing that this is yet another bubble-like situation. Now, if the housing market crashes, could this see a flock of investors going to Bitcoin? Well, possibly. I feel like Bitcoin is going to be a really great hedge in the next major financial crash. And it's not a question of if there is going to be another major financial crash. It's simply a question of when that financial crash is going to happen. And when it does happen, how will you be ready for that? Will you take that sort of Machiavellian, plan for the worst events kind of situation and be ready to take advantage of those opportunities when you see them coming? That will, of course, differentiate the winners from the losers when that does happen. Japanese cryptocurrency exchange Zaif has been hacked for $59 million. The hackers got Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Monocoin. Seems like it's a pretty hot time for meme coins in the crypto market overall. Now, another exchange getting hacked, that's not really big news, to be honest. Seems to happen all the time. But this is interesting because will we see the Japanese regulators take a very strong reaction to this? Because in Japan, they've been working very hard with regulation, security, and all these different things to try and make the industry as transparent as possible, as secure as possible, et cetera, to know that they had so much money sitting in their hot wallets. You have to wonder about how diligent they were being with their security in that situation. Apparently not as diligent as they should have been. Treat Bitcoin like Switzerland does, Zimbabwean finance minister tells the central bank. Now, this is Zimbabwe's new finance minister, and I'm already a fan of the guy. This is great. He says, there are countries which are moving faster. If you look at the Swiss central bank, they are investing and understanding Bitcoin. Yes, Zimbabwe, come back to us. Come back to the Bitcoin, Zimbabwe. Come back. We're ready for you. Of course, Zimbabwe has not stopped using Bitcoin. People are still investing in Bitcoin in Zimbabwe. The government's just making it more difficult for that to happen. The idea shouldn't be to stop Bitcoin and say, don't do this, but rather the regulators should invest in catching up with them and find ways to understand it. Then you regulate it because you now understand it. That sounds like a pretty practical point of view to me. Over in Palestine, Palestinians are using Bitcoin to transact across borders amid the ongoing apartheid that is happening in Palestine. You just see the power of Bitcoin. And I know, again, for a lot of people in Western countries, you don't understand how unimaginably important it is to be able to buy things. To not have somebody tell you that, no, you're not allowed to access your bank account. No, you can't have a bank card. And all of these different things. Palestine, great use case for Bitcoin. Nice to see them doing it. Now, Palestine hasn't been going totally Bitcoin crazy. It's not the new Korea or anything like that. But it does, of course, provide a nice reminder of why Bitcoin is so important. France accepts new ICO framework to become Europe's leading ICO hub. You can now get a visa to go and start your ICO in France, which is pretty cool. Now, this article also quotes blockchain.io, which I just did an interview with them. They've been working together with the French regulators to launch their ICO under the new framework, which is really, really cool. Of course, they've got that cryptocurrency exchange ICO coming. If you want to check out the interview with that, it'll be linked down below. Ukraine. The Ukrainian parliament proposes tax bill for digital currencies. Now, the interesting thing here is that they're offering a 5% tax on individuals and legal entities operating with virtual currency assets, such as cryptocurrencies and tokens. In 2024, that'll go up to the regular tax rate of 18%. So you see what they're doing here. They are trying to attract businesses to come and build crypto projects in Ukraine by incentivizing them with a much lower tax rate than you would otherwise be subject to. Of course, that will go up at some point in the future, as they do mention here. But nice to see them taking a proactive role. Nevertheless, Chinese blockchain fund plans to raise $13 million for Japanese yen stablecoin. Oh, stablecoins. Wowzer, wowzer, wowzer. We've got so many of them happening right now. Obviously, most of the stablecoins we do see happening, though, are focused on the US dollar. A Japanese yen stablecoin welcome to the party, guys, without a doubt. 3 crypto exchanges may be operating illegally, New York says. In particular, they single out Binance, Kraken, and Gate.io. Now, previously, the New York regulators had asked for information from them, Kraken basically telling them to, get stuffed, whereas others didn't really care so much about them. But it's funny to see the New York regulators being so difficult with these cryptocurrency exchanges. But apparently, these 3 exchanges are being singled out as potentially operating illegally. New York Attorney General report says the crypto exchanges are at risk of manipulation. And that just speaks so much to this idea of course they are. Of course they're at risk of manipulation. Were you guys born yesterday? Did you really have to do a report on that? That's crazy. That's like doing a report, is the sky blue? Of course the sky is blue, and of course there's manipulation on exchanges, there's manipulation on Wall Street, there's manipulation in the government, there's manipulation in the media. Everybody understands this. You don't need to do a report, guys. Bitcoin's biggest name forgot a rule for selling shovels. Make sure you get paid in cash. This is an article about Bitmain and their upcoming IPO and how basically Bitmain might have really shot themselves in the foot here by accepting Bitcoin Cash in exchange for their miners, by selling Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, and by mining Bitcoin Cash. Now, if you are a big Bitcoin Cash believer, and obviously Bitmain seems to be, in the long run, who knows, maybe this will be a fantastic decision, but considering that they are having an IPO, and that this looks like a very bad financial decision, especially at the moment, it really makes you question how successful the IPO is going to be, with a lot of big name investors that were touted at the start actually saying, no, we didn't invest, or we're not planning on investing. And now to see, of course, the worsening financial situation by holding such a gigantic amount of Bitcoin Cash, certainly spells trouble for Bitmain. Bitfury, though, launches a new suite of Bitcoin mining hardware. Here, while Bitmain is trying to stay, I don't want to say stay afloat, but really to keep enthusiasm for their IPO going, Bitfury is just off developing new technology and stuff. GMO Internet doing the same. A lot of other companies are getting involved. It'll be interesting to see if Bitmain will still be relevant in 5 or 10 years' time. And the final story of the day, hodlers be hodling. 55% of Bitcoin sits in multi-million-dollar wallets. It seems that a lot of the big Bitcoin holders are quite happy to hold during these difficult times in the market, whereas newer retail investors who might have 1 or 2 or 3 Bitcoin, especially if they got involved earlier in the year, having a much harder time holding on to that Bitcoin. So take a lesson from the big guys here. Hodl your Bitcoin, guys. Selling now is a crazy proposition. We still have so far to go, and actually now is a great time to be buying Bitcoin if you want to get involved. If you've been on the sidelines thinking, ooh, about this Bitcoin thing, prices are looking pretty decent at the moment. I'm certainly not afraid to buy at these levels, and it seems that the hodlers are not selling at these levels. All things to keep in mind. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. Let me know what you think about any of the news stories down below in the comment section. Thumbs up the video, share these videos around the internet, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. If you're already subscribed, hit that bell down below to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Join the conversation over on Telegram, Steemit, or Twitter. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.